Okay. Hands up. 1, 2. Oh, that one was way better. Second time's a charm. Welcome to the Rolling Coynes Podcast. I'm Ross.
I'm Krystal.
And we are recapping our 32nd week of Jiu-Jitsu in this episode 21.
Wow.
Yep.
I think I say wow.
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 Surprised every time.
Yeah,
Do I have a wow? Yeah, I do.
You gotta have.
Oh, no.
What's his name?
No. Dang it. Oh, man. No, where's my wow?
What's that actor's name?
Oh.
Is it Matthew McConaughey?
No.
No.
Oh.
That one works. You know who I'm talking about, the blonde dude.
Wow. Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, we're definitely past the 1 year or half a year mark. 26 weeks is half a year. So that's 6 months. So we are just past 7 months.
Dang.
It really does fly by. I was trying to find Reddit things to respond to today, and I won't bring those up, but just related. There was someone who came on and was like, you always see it, and I get it, but new people to jiu-jitsu are always like, how long did it take you to get to your blue belt, right? Thinking that there's like some
magic,
some number that they can, create an average from, and then they'll feel better about how long they need to go.
And stress out when they don't hit it, or feel like a prodigy when they
and of course they never get the answers that they want. It's always like really frustrating because people are like, they give the advice they should give, which is like, just focus on the journey, focus on yourself, just show up, don't focus on the belt. And then some people were like, butt hurt, so they're like, I've been here for 4.5 years and
I'm still a 1-stripe white belt.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, these anomalies are the only ones that are commenting. But the fact that we have been at it for 7 months is one person said, I just like drifted off. One person said, like, just focus on the journey. Enjoy being a white belt. It goes way faster than you think.
Yeah.
And I feel that right now because I'm like, holy moly, I'm already at
3-stripe white belt.
Yeah.
You're over the halfway mark.
Or not even that, because who knows how long it takes to get from here to blue belt. But more so, I've been doing this for 7 months.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. And like some people, yeah, sure, blue belt could be around the corner. It could also be a year away. But it still is just like, wow, I've already gotten 7 months down. So if it does take another 7 months or 12 months, then so be it. Because I'm having fun.
Go by in a flash.
Yeah. I'm just going to force their hand and just keep winning. So,
do you think consistency has anything to the fact that it feels like it's going by fast?
Consistency maybe, but I don't think that we've actually been. I mean, we've been more consistent than a lot of people.
Pretty dang consistent.
I have high standards for myself. I think for me, it's that our life is so chaotic that like life flies by, and jiu-jitsu is like a very special moment that gets to slot into our busy life. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like our life just moves at a pace. I mean, time moves at its own pace, right? But it seems like with all that we have going on, that time just flies by. So 7 months is like a blip.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and like our son he's almost been doing it for a year.
Yeah, it's getting really close, actually.
Yeah.
July.
Next month.
What?
I know. It's crazy. Also crazy to think that it took us 5 months to start.
Yeah.
I mean, we bounced around and tried to find him the right gym. He hasn't been like fully into it for a year, but still his first class was almost a year ago.
Dang, that's so crazy.
I know. And he's doing great.
Yeah.
Where he was 3 months ago versus what I saw in him today, I was like, oh, this is just normal. This is just normal little kid behavior. Like, I'm not concerned about him. He was actually kind of practicing, and he was having fun playing games. And
Yeah. And just
he did a little bit of jiu-jitsu during his rolls. So
Yeah.
stuff's starting to come together for him.
Yeah, I'm excited for him just to stay with it.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, totally.
Well, how did your week go, honey?
Okay, so I'm trying to remember. We came back from we took a weekend away as a family.
That's right.
We left
Sunday
on
to Tuesday.
Sunday. We stayed in a little mountain town about 2.5 hours away from Sunday until Tuesday. So there's no classes on Sunday. Didn't do any class on Monday. And then I
You got to go
made
Tuesday
it
night.
in Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
So Tuesday evening was my first class. Wednesday evening was my second class. I tried to do the quick turn for Thursday morning. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then no class on Friday. I wanted to do the noon class on Friday, but work just got a little too busy. Big fireworks. And then did 2 classes today, but one of them wasn't really a class. So I just did like 1 class today.
Yeah.
My week ended with me tweaking my back.
I was going to say, so how's your back feeling?
I have my TENS unit on, or your TENS unit, our TENS unit on right now. And it's not terrible, but it's not great. It's just frustrating. I'm like really, really tight. I was practicing grip fighting with another teammate who is also going to compete.
Stand-up grip fighting.
Yeah. And I just did I grabbed one of her she had a grip on my lapel. And so I did a double hand grip on her sleeve, and I, pushed her hand away and pulled my body away from her hand like you're supposed to.
Lower back first.
But I went lower back first, and I just felt that. And if you've ever hurt your back in the same way, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like a little squeak,
Yeah.
Crap. I knew immediately this isn't going to be good, but I don't know how not good it's going to be. And I think I said to her man, I just pulled something in my back. Let's take it easy. We didn't intend on rolling anyway. She was really gassed from our first roll. And yeah, I just kind of took it easy. I sat and I kind of just tried to feel it out and tried to stretch a little bit after class. I was like, okay, I don't think this is the worst version of this that I've ever done. I'm able to stand up. I'm not
yeah.
I can't move. We went to a kid's birthday party all afternoon, and so that
Carried
was
our
just
bowling ball of a second child around.
Too much, but also you're supposed to move around when something like this happens too. I've got my back to pop and crack a little bit, which tells me
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say what it tells me. It's not the cracking or the popping of your back is anything that it's doing anything for you, but what it does tell me is that my back isn't so seized up that it can't pop.
Yes.
Because when I've done this in the past really bad, it's no, there's no way I could pop or crack my back because everything around it is so seized up that there's no possible way. So it almost feels like when I've done this in the past, if the healing is a week, you start to feel this sort of where I'm at right now, midway through. So it just kind of feels it's I just need a couple days. I was going to go to a women's only no-gi class tomorrow, which is Sunday, at a neighbor gym. But as much as I wanted to push through and do it, I'm don't ruin yourself before the competition.
Juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, just take the extra day. But yeah, going back to the beginning of the week, Tuesday evening was no-gi. It was really great to just kind of get my wiggles out. My work has been really stressful lately, so I was I need this. We practiced guard passing from someone sitting and sitting up in guard. So someone's trying to get their butterfly hooks into you. And so we practiced a bunch of different variations of like passing someone's guard when they start sitting up. And we did the same thing on Wednesday in gi, just like variations of that. And it was nice because I got to kind of like refine some like pressure passing that has been feeling pretty good. Kind of using the nimbleness of my feet and my legs to like move people's limbs around. Wow. Like it's like put pressure with the upper body, use the lower body to move their lower body and get around the legs. And then, yeah, today's class went in for the women's only gi class at our gym, which is like a very small class typically in like a program that we're trying to build. And I'm like looking around, like, where is everybody? I checked the schedule. I'm like, they didn't cancel it as far as I can tell, but no one was there. And then like right when the class was supposed to start, the training partner that I mentioned walks in. So it's like, oh, sweet. Okay. Like you're here. We kind of look around. We don't see the coach, and no other new women were there. So we were like, well, let's just like warm up and treat it as if
Coach
like, it's
here.
just us.
Yeah.
And so we just started doing some warm ups and, kind of half-assed the warm ups. And then I just sit down and I start talking to her about like, what's her strategy? Because she was adamant for the longest time about never competing. She was like, nope, this is not for me. She didn't grow up. I don't think she grew up doing sports or anything. She got into jiu-jitsu because her boyfriend is very into it. And like has come to love it, but is also just like, competing's not for me. I think she's in her low 40s. And
I guess early 40s.
Early, I don't know how to early things. I was like, there's a word there that's better than that. Her early 40s. Yeah, and she didn't want to compete for the longest time, and then I try not to peer pressure her too much, but I was like, I think you should at least do it one time. Just give it a shot. And I could tell that she was kind of waffling and she's on the fence. And I think I mentioned her once. I was like, I know that her boyfriend was kind of pressuring her to do it, hopefully in a healthy way. And I was like, if you ever need peer pressure, like I'm here. Like I will always try to convince you if you're up for it, but I'm also not going to try to make you feel uncomfortable because you don't have to.
Yeah.
And then she said that she was going to. So anyway, today I was like, okay, like she seems nervous and, she's not like a really like aggressive person. So I was like, what's your game plan? And she started talking about how she wanted to do takedowns. And she's kind of like, I'll just do a single or a double leg takedown because I really want to get into side control because I really want to go for a bread cutter. Like that's like my favorite choke. I feel really good with the pressure that I can put on people in side control. And I was like, okay, and like I hesitated a little bit because I was like, man, like I feel like a fairly snappy, quick person, and like singles and doubles are hard, and like there's just so much that can go wrong. Not to mention, like as much as I have practiced them, I never land in side control. I always end up in someone's close guard or their half guard.
Interesting.
And so I was like, okay, And then the coach walks in and she's like, I'm so sorry, I slept in. And so she walks out on the mat and we just start talking about like, we were just talking about this person's game plan for the competition. And so she says it out loud again. And then this coach, who is a purple belt and has competed, she was like, well, let me teach you a different takedown. And so we went over a really cool takedown today that is dependent on getting a really deep cross collar grip, lapel,
Yep.
And then you take the other arm on that same side of the collar that you have, and you get an underhook, and you break their posture by kind of giving that underhook over the back hug, right? Mm-hmm. You break their posture, and then the hand that had the collar, you grab the back of their head and you just shove their head down into the ground. So you're like threatening, because you have the underhook and their arm is just kind of hanging out over your shoulder. You're threatening an arm bar. and then you're shoving their head down to the ground, and then you just circle around their back. And once you get them basically in like a tripod position, you've taken away one arm, and they don't want to move it because you can get arm barred from there. And then I was kind of landing in this position where I had one hand down, but like you can't really position yourself too well to balance there. And so then you just drive into them and then get into side control. I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, if you want to get into side control, here's how to get into side control.
Yeah. So she gave her a really good like strategy, and then we kind of practiced her chokes and stuff. And it felt really good. It was like really nice to see her like have a game plan, practice it. I could see the confidence kind of building in her. And then her boyfriend came in just to check in at the very end of class. And I'm like, watch, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, check out what she learned today. And so like we practiced it, and like I wasn't going easy on her. I was like, I'm going to try to like get out of this, but like not as hard as I possibly can.
Also, don't fuck up my arm.
Yeah, totally. And I look over at him and he's crying.
Oh.
Yeah. He was like, it made him cry. He was like, oh my gosh, like, because I don't think he's seen that side of her, you know,
Yeah.
and she's like really struggled with finding any sort of confidence doing this. So that was really, really sweet. I texted her about it earlier. And then there's a break because our son had class, and then she, you know, she was just kind of hanging out in between. And then she decided to do the second class with me. And we didn't partner up, but we ended up rolling together for the first roll. In that class today, we practiced bow and arrows, which I loved. I told you earlier, it was like, I was like, oh, for now I found my calling.
Yeah, this is
like I when I was rolling, because of the way that the coach explained it, I was like finding my way in for a bow and arrow in like a bunch of different positions. I was like in side control, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait, but if I slip my hand behind their back and get the grip, and then I can just get the pant leg and I can just swing my leg over, like there's a bow and arrow from side control. And then, you know, like maybe it's risky if they like get away from you, but like no one was getting away from me.
Yeah.
So I just kept doing bow and arrows during my rolls today. So it was really fun. And like I wasn't finishing them every single time, but I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then I was like, what if there isn't a bow and arrow? There's an arm bar, you know? So like, I just kind of like kept getting into these positions where I was like, if I'm in mount, I can arm bar. And if they roll away from me in mount, I can get a bow and arrow. And if I'm in side control and I slip this knee up, then I can get a bow and arrow. Like it just like everything just started like clicking together. Felt really good.
Call you the archer.
When I was rolling with her for our first roll, you know, before we go, coach is like, hey, who's competing? And like a bunch of us raise our hand. We're like, oh, cool. Like almost half the class is competing. So he's like, hey, if you're rolling with someone who's competing, put it on them, but don't hurt them. I was like, cool. All right. And I like, you know, just give her kind of like a cheeky little, like, I see you, you know, I'm coming for you. And so we roll, and I don't go 100% with her, but I'm like, no, she's got to feel what it feels to like have a hard roll. And so like I'm really like trying to find that like limit and like really push the pace. And then she's like, there's a minute and a half left, and she's like gassed, and I can tell that she just like wants to give it up. And I'm like, okay, now practice your move. Like this is the moment, like practice the move. And so she goes in rounds. And I'm breaking her grips, and she's trying and like she, you know, she gets it toward the very end, and like that's basically how we finish our roll. And when I texted her earlier, she was like, I just want to read it because it was a very interesting little exchange. Sorry, no, I got it. Stop. Turn it off.
It just has to play. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. She said, I'm glad y'all gave me the knowledge, but doing a live roll was harder than I expected to try and get the move. My body was already worn out from our first little session. And I said, totally. It's good to try it when you're tired so that it feels easy when you're fresh. And she said, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Thanks for turning my thoughts around. And it's like, it is so important to like, you're going to have so much adrenaline and you're going to be tired the second you walk out on that mat, or, you know, you try it, you don't get it. You got to keep trying, or you guys fall down and you stand back up. You got to keep trying. So it was just really good to like have that moment with her to be like, no, do it tired. What if you win your first match? You got to go again.
Yeah, you're going
again. You got to do it again. You're going to be tired. So yeah, aside from hurting my back, it was a great day and a great week. I'm feeling like, because I got to roll with her and I got to roll with another female blue belt who is about the same size, I was like, oh, I'm feeling like physically capable, and I feel like my jiu-jitsu is getting a lot better. So
good.
Good.
Thumbs up. I
was not the dominant, but I was like more dominant with the blue belt than I typically am. And I was also like, let's go for a hard roll today. I wasn't holding back. And then with the other one too, I was like, okay, I'm doing more jiu-jitsu than I've ever done before, because we haven't rolled together in a really long time.
Yeah.
That was my week. How was your week?
Well, hold on. Before we move on to my week.
Okay.
There's another layer of our week, which is we are in competition prep. We're competing July 18th.
18th or 19th. I think the kids are first.
Well, it's 2 days.
One of those days.
Yeah.
Yeah. A weekend. 3 weekends from now.
3 weekends. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And part of that is making weight. And this was the first week where I really was counting my calories. Mm-hmm. But where are you at? How do you feel? Where are you at?
I should have weighed myself. I mean, I don't really need to. I'll weigh myself in the evening.
How are you feeling?
So I started out deciding, like I decided that I was going to go down a weight class from the last competition I did, because.
And what? Yeah, I was going to say why.
The last competition, there's a weight class that's like 152 like in gi. There's a weight class that is 152.5 to like 160 something. And then there's one that is from like between 141.5 and 152.5. So we'll just say under 152.5. That was the weight class that I wanted last time. And without my gi on, I started that journey at 152.5. So basically I was like, okay, I need to lose the weight of my gear. And like I felt softer, you know? So I was like, but that was only 2 months ago. So time frame is crazy. Because that competition was in like April. June. Yeah. 3 months, but like 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. I lost that weight. I was fine. It wasn't hard. I just ate healthy. I think I like cut like 300 to 400 calories out of my diet every day, which basically just meant like no excessive junk food. But I was even having like little cheat days here and there. Like I wasn't being super strict about it. It came off pretty easy.
I remember being very impressed with your approach and your execution.
Yeah. And I think we talk in detail about it in a past episode. Very scientific, methodical about it. So that came off pretty easy. I could see it just kind of over time, kind of like tick, 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 just like it come up a little and go down and come up and go down. But I was seeing the trend down. And then this time, all of a sudden I weigh myself. You know, people are commenting on like, wow, Ross looks like he's lost weight. And I'm like, I should weigh myself. I haven't weighed myself in a while. And on the 14th, so today is the 27th, I think. On the 14th, I weighed myself and I was 142 pounds. I was like, wait, registration for the competition, I think, was on the 15th.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what do I do now? Right? Because in the evening with my underwear on without my gear, I'm 142 pounds. And just like last time, it was like, I just need to lose the weight of my gear. So it's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sign up for the lower weight class. Also, kind of crazy that I just lost 10 pounds in 2 months. I didn't do anything crazy. It's just jiu-jitsu and stress, I guess.
Yeah. Mainlining cortisol.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I was like, okay, I started doing the math. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but you're going to talk next. I think my gear will be about 3.5 pounds.
Okay.
And I want to have some allowance for like some food and water in the morning. So ideally, let's just say 138 pounds naked the morning of the competition.
Okay.
2, 3. Because I've heard that their scales are like 1 to 2 pounds off. And I think I saw that when I weighed in. I was like, oh, these are a little lower. So I think
they're generous, you mean, by 2 pounds? They're
generous, yeah. I have 137.5 pounds just to be safe, but I think 138 should be fine too. So let's say 138 pounds. The lowest that I have weighed in the morning so far is like just over 140. So 2 to 2.5 pounds.
So you mean like 140.5 or something?
140.2.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
But this morning I was 141.4. So I've been stressing out a little bit because I'm like, I've been eating.
I promise you go black coffee from here on out, you'll lose that weight. Okay,
maybe I just had to go black. Like the one thing I don't want to give up, but I do think
bro science, by the way.
Well, but who knows, right? Because that is like the one thing where I'm like,
you're unwilling to give it up.
I'm unwilling to give it up. So it probably is. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. So this morning I woke up 141.4.
Okay, I thought you were like 5 pounds away or something.
Well, let's do the math really quick. So 141.4. I should be able to do this in my head. Minus, let's see. Let's say just the most aggressive goal, 137.5. 137.5. 3.9 pounds.
So 4 pounds. Yeah, okay, so that's a little closer.
Let's say 3.5 pounds. So I've got 3 weeks left. I got to be losing a pound a week without dehydrating myself. If I'm not going to dehydrate myself, which I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe this morning was just a heavy week. Then it would be what? That was 3.9. So 2.9, maybe 2.5. So I think it's possible. I talked to coaches this morning and they were just like, go hard, as in go super clean this next week and just like see how low you can get in a week. Because then if you do like really drain yourself this week doing it, and by the end of this week you just like feel like garbage, then just go up a weight class.
Yeah.
And if you go clean and you're just feeling mean and lean and strong, then you're fine. So I just I'm a little bit stressed out about it.
Yeah. Seems like you've been.
Yeah. Just because I'm like, I want it to be
enjoyable.
No, I just want it to be easy.
Oh.
And I don't want to go up to the next weight class. I really don't want to, because I'm like, I could probably, what I fear happening is that I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do it. And I sign up for the next weight class, which is up to 152.5. And then I get to the competition and I weigh in, and in my gi, I'm under 141.5.
Yeah,
and so I am at a severe disadvantage because I've got girls who probably cut from 160
to,
and I'm weighing 140.
Yeah.
So like that's, I know I'm strong, but I'm like, I don't want to have to try to make up for 20 pounds of strength.
Yeah, that would suck.
That's not fun. Getting thrown around by somebody who's potentially 20 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let that happen. So yeah, I guess just no cream or sugar in my coffee.
That's what gold tastes like, baby.
Bitter. It's bitter. Gold is bitter. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. That's a pretty good recap.
Yeah.
Yeah, my week, I went Wednesday morning, and we did the bow and arrow drills that you did today, and if you did any other, today. Super fun. Not much to report on that. It was really funny because it was a really weird week because I barely got to roll. We only did like a little bit of positional work, and then I had to get home for your meeting.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And so like even the coach was like apologizing. He's like, dude, you showed up on like the heady day where we like were getting in like really deep into theory. Like he's like if you were here yesterday, we were rolling until we were all just like beat up. Mm-hmm. So he's like, so sorry that you showed up on the lecture day. But it was fine.
Yeah.
And then I went Wednesday. No, that was Wednesday morning. I went Thursday night, which is like the advanced gi class, and just rolled until I was just like a pile of crap. Mm-hmm. Just like
you got your rolls in.
I got my rolls in that night, and I knew that was going to happen, so I really wasn't stressed Wednesday morning. Mm-hmm. And got gassed up by some members who were like,
you getting better.
Yeah, it was fun. It was kind of like that, like, oh man, thanks. Like,
yeah,
because like one of the members was like, hey, like your scrambles are really good. And he's like a really deadpan, kind of like dry dude. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like embellished at all. He was just like, your scrambles are like really good. Like you're really, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's like really hard to keep up. Like sometimes it's like I have to like really slow you down. I have to figure out how to stop you in that scramble, or just like let it happen, and then I'll figure it out later. Like
yeah, which is pretty wild to think about. Like he'd be willing to just give up a dominant position, but he's purple belt, so he'll figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
And he was like, most white belts just don't find that drive right away. They don't realize that that's like
something you should and can do.
Yeah, you should and can do, or like I guess people have to work to develop or something,
Yeah. A lot of it's probably fitness too.
Yeah, and that's another thing. He like kind of like looked around. He's like, and you don't have to worry about fitness. And he was like, that seems like you've already got like some history of fitness.
Yeah, yeah, because he's a fit guy.
Yeah, he's strong, very very trim, lean. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because one of the coaches was in the we're in the locker room, and he's in one of the changing stalls, and I was just like, hey, like I appreciate you calling that out, because it's kind of hard to know what you look like or what you're doing when you're rolling, it's
and especially when you're scrambling, you're like, do I look like a ding dong right now?
And like a lot of times I feel like I'm just like, just cocking it up, and like it's like, well, hopefully I just don't hurt anybody in these scrambles, like, and like I try not, I try to be aware of my limbs,
totally,
where I'm stepping or grabbing. But I was like, hey, I appreciate you calling that out. I'd never really considered it in my own context, but I'd heard from my favorite thing to reference, the How to Suck Less at Jiu-Jitsu, link in our show notes, this concept where it's a race to base. Like when it comes to scrambles and in your jiu-jitsu match, like it's a race to base or a race to top position. Mm-hmm. And then usually that's a really good place to be in. Mm-hmm. That's like something you want to fight for. And I was like, oh, cool. So I'm like doing that right, I guess, Yeah. And the coach was walking out, and he like turned around and he looked, he was like, 100% agree with that statement. I was like, absolutely. Like you want to race in a scramble situation, you want to race to base. You want to like race to be in a top position, whether or not that's dominant, I guess, you have to get there first to like, be in a dominant.
Set yourself up for success.
Right. I just lost my train of thought, but in any case, it was.
You're getting gassed up. People were being.
Yeah, they're just being nice. You know, it was just kind of like it's nice to get those every now and then.
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah, you're getting man.
Yeah.
The slog.
You just get beat up.
Yeah.
So much, and I also felt like in the broader context of competing soon, I really was like kind of in a headspace of like, oh, this is going to be really hard. And it definitely has the potential to not go the way I envision it or want it to go.
I was going to add, like, you were out for a while because you were hurt and then sick. And so you're like, am I even
hurt, sick, work, travel?
Yeah. Am I prepared to do this?
Got a weekend, another work, travel week.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. Not ideal, but in any case, I'm like, yeah, it was just, I was in a weird headspace on Thursday for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And to kind of get that just out of the blue, I was like, huh, that
nice.
Feels nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I get to go home with some fuzzies.
Week and a half to 2 weeks that you come back consistently.
Yeah.
You're already getting people's attention.
Yeah.
Oh, you're making some progress.
Yeah. And then the next morning was Friday morning. Mm-hmm. And Friday morning is not a consistent class at our gym. For whatever reason, the head coach can't, like, there's no coach available, really.
Yeah.
There is one purple belt who's our friend who is willing to coach and when he's in town.
Yeah. He travels a lot.
And he messaged me the night before. He's like, I'll see you tomorrow. And I was like, yep. And he's like, okay. And I was like, I think I'm going to be the only one into class. So I think that's why he reached out. And on Thursday night, funny enough, there was another guy who comes to morning classes and he was like, you going to be here tomorrow morning? And I was like, yep. He's like, you could kind of see the flash in his eyes where he was like, oh, I was hoping he was going to say no.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think I'll be here, very non-committal.
Yeah.
And didn't show up. So it was just me and the purple belt and the coach. And it was so amazing. It was such a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be gone for the next 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah. Until the competition.
Yeah. And so like I go to line up and he's at the head of class and he's like, so what do you want to work on? And I just got to tell him, I was like, I want to work on grip fighting and guard passing. Because my thought is
here's my strategy.
Here's my strategy. I was talking to a coach. I'm going to get grips, snap the person down, rattle their cage and get them to pull guard and then work on passing their guard and figure it out from there. And he was like, great. And so we started working on grip fighting and he just it's one of those things where sometimes you can say, great, we're drilling this in class. This is something I've been wanting to know.
Yeah. Like lucky me, today is for me.
Yeah. And then you start doing it, but you do it for the minute back and forth and then you switch, do it for the minute back and forth.
You don't get to do it against any sort of, resistance.
I mean, you kind of do depending on your partner, but the thing I'm getting at is then coach comes and says, okay, any questions? And you're kind of like, every now and then I have a specific question and I can ask it and it might get answered, but a lot of the times it's kind of like, it's clear enough.
I'm not going to disrupt class to try to break down.
I'm not going to slow us down because I'm like, what's the point of how much should my hand be gripping?
Yeah, totally.
And so with him, we were going, he's like, okay, stop. So get it like this, and he gets my hand and he's like right here.
Yeah.
And then turn in. You feel that? That's what the turn in should feel like. And okay, now I'm going to get my grip and now grab my hand. No, not there. No, up here. And then, okay, you feel that? It's like a lever. And then you just unhook the lever and then you can push,
Yeah.
So we were just really getting detailed.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end, before we know it, it's 7:35 in the morning, right? And class is over. And I got to go over grip fighting and then getting basically the takedown. And then once you're in the takedown, he was like, oh, a lot of the times they're probably going to roll into their stomach and give up their back. So let's go over this. And he was like, oh, it looks like you just naturally went for a rear naked choke. Here's the details of a rear naked choke. Let's practice that. And it was such a great, I left feeling much like your friend this morning. I
have a game plan.
I have a game plan. And I have another person, whether or not his opinion is legit or not, which I think it is.
I think so. I mean, he placed really well at a competition recently. Right. So
but I'm just saying to anybody, right?
Yeah, totally.
Whatever. Right. It's nice to have somebody who is a higher ranked belt than you give you confidence and be like, this is something like you could do.
Yeah, they're vouching for these moves and for this strategy.
And it feels, you're just like, a little bit of relief. Like, okay, cool. And like, I left feeling like on cloud 9. I was just like, that was great. I'm really glad I did that.
Awesome.
Because I could have slept in. I could have been like, nah, man, don't worry about it. It's probably just going to be me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and there was another, on Thursday night, there's a member we talked about on Saturday who was kind of working with me on grip fighting. And like, we got to roll on Thursday night. And he was like, all right, big, like, you ready? Like,
yeah, let's go.
remember what I was telling you, and like, it was like a really fun roll. And I guess I don't really have too many details now that I started that story, but it was just like, it was nice. It was nice from so many different angles this week where I was feeling doubt. Like, oh, this is getting kind of overwhelming thinking about competing and feeling lost. And just the cosmos coming together to kind of like lift me up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just been like, man, ending the week on kind of a high note. You know?
I'm so excited for how many people are competing.
It seems like a big cohort. It's going to be a party.
Last I checked, there was 34. I mean, that includes kids. The majority are kids, but still, let's see if I can find. I've got the window open on my phone. Don't put the hold music on.
Oh, I got you.
No, 34.
Oh, dang it.
So let's see how many of those. Don't do it. It's right here. It's going to just distract. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 adults.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think, I don't know, I feel like there's a couple people who are on the fence too. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple more.
The other thing is, prepping for this, I've been tracking my weight and counting my calories. And this is the first week of counting my calories for a goal. Oh, hello.
Our kitty really wants to be popular.
She wants food too.
Oh, yeah.
R2. Oh my God. In our CrossFit experience near the tail end, early in our experience, I was like dumpster. Like I would just eat whatever I could.
Yeah.
Because I was just burning.
We were young, burning
metabolism
calories. We also weren't eating healthy, so we just were under eating in general, even though we thought we were eating a lot.
Yeah. And then in like the end of our CrossFit experience, we like even tried to like get consulting from a nutritionalist to like count our macros.
Yeah, I think that was after I had my first son, so I might have been trying to like get back in shape after that.
But the goal was very fuzzy. I was just like, well, it sounds nice to be 195 and
yeah, and
fit.
like I just want to look better,
Yeah, what should my protein goals be? And I don't even remember what I weighed then, I was probably around the same in any case. And so this was really the first time of like having a goal and like tracking my calories.
And we are doing so very methodically again.
Yeah. Using the kind of the equation you kind of set up for us that you ran last time for us this time. And my bracket, what's the weight? It's like, I don't know what the lower.
181.5 down probably about 10-ish pounds.
Yeah. So.
Let's say 170 to 181.
And much like your experience, on March 22nd in the morning, I weighed 183.6. And then May 25th in the morning, I weighed 179.
Wow.
And that was, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The first, I was bouncing around like 183 in the morning. And then now, cut to June 27th in the morning, I'm 173.6. So the weight has just been falling off.
Yeah.
And
your body is like finding like stasis right now, which is interesting.
Yeah. And so it's been like a slow burn. Like I've been taking small steps since like early June, late May, where I was just like drinking black coffee and not putting butter and jam on my toast.
Yeah.
But not cutting out toast because I still wanted carbs, like for energy and blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't counting calories or anything. It was just this week that I started counting calories. Last week and this week. And it was very eye-opening and kind of enlightening of like what, like shooting for 2,500 calories in a day is where that's what my plan is, right? To get me to cut to weight. I'm already there, like
and
healthily.
You shouldn't lose much more intentionally
at
this point.
Like I'm not going to try. Like today was a bit of like, I was like, I got room. I'm going to eat.
I hate that.
I'm sorry.
I love that for you, but I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't say it to be like boastful. It's just like, it's so surprising and weird.
Yeah.
I haven't weighed this light probably for a decade.
Yeah.
At least. Like definitely in the past decade have been
well,
over
because
one.
like, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I got pregnant and you basically like gained weight with me.
Yeah.
And so that last 6 years. And then before that, like you were like weight training like pretty heavily. And so I think you had probably a little bit more fat maybe, but like maybe more muscle too. And so you were just like heavier at that point. And then before that was like the buildup of like coming into CrossFit and like we were drinking and partying from 21 and on. So like right when I met you, you were pretty lean.
Yeah.
But you're also like a small boy.
Yeah.
Like you weren't
Would you call me a young sapling?
Yeah. You're a young sapling. Now you're a sturdy tree.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just very interesting.
Yeah, and it's been very eye-opening to see if you're just counting calories, right? You're not like paying attention to carbs, fats, protein, all those macros. You're just looking at just calories and what you get out of what you put in your mouth. Pause. It's so bizarre to look at like the calorie density of foods.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great exercise for anyone to do just for a couple of weeks, because I was trying to tell another teammate who's trying to cut, like, you have to do it because you are going to understand like the, I don't know, culture's perception of fat is wrong, but it's right. So what I mean by that is we demonized fat for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Like fats are good for you. It's just that one, we're eating
the right type of fat.
Yes. And that's what I was going to say is that we're eating the wrong type.
Yeah.
First. And that second, fats are extremely calorically dense and you don't need as much as you think you need.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, we need fats. But if you have half an avocado and a piece of salmon every day, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
And some eggs. Like that's enough. But if you put a tablespoon of butter on your toast, that's 100 calories. Yeah. And if you're only trying to eat 1,700 calories a day, like you eat 2 pieces of toast and put half and half in the 2 coffees you have, you're like, well, that was a third of the calories I was supposed to eat in a day.
Yeah.
Like it really adds up. Like when you were like munching and just snacking on almonds and like pepita seeds or pumpkin seeds.
I was going to say, I love pumpkin seeds.
That's probably why you lost weight. You just stopped eating pumpkin seeds.
That was the other thing. So yeah, I stopped eating pumpkin seeds. No peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, peanut butter. It's a big one too.
Black coffee and plain bread that's toasted.
That's the first thing I eat, I think, when I'm done is a PB&J.
And so, yeah, it's like I never thought of bananas as depending on the size, 100 calories.
Yeah.
100 calories. You
Yeah.
could eat like a...
You could eat a whole like carton of blueberries for 100 calories.
For 100 calories. It's like, and it made me love berries even more.
You could eat like an entire jar of pickles for like 50 calories.
Yeah. Like a big pickle spear.
It's 5
Not
calories.
a whole pickle, but a big pickle spear that we buy from Costco in the brine, which the brine is great for your digestion and everything. It's 5 calories.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many can I eat?
Yeah. I mean, you got to be careful about your sodium because you're going to like retain a lot of water, but still, yeah.
I mean, well, right now after today, I was like, man, I got room to spare. I started crushing creatine again. So I'm like, why not? I can take some water back on. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, I've decided not to do I should have done it after.
Because that's another
the
thing. I
last
cut
competition.
creatine as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how. I mean, recording this next week will be interesting because one thing I was talking to the coaches about today is they're like, you're probably actually losing the weight. You're just not seeing it on the scale because you're holding onto a lot of water right now. And they're like, usually this kind of happens where you clean up your diet and your body like retains a bunch of water, and then like it starts to kind of like find stasis again, and you'll see the weight kind of drop off. And so that's why they were like, just go hard for the next week, and then you'll start to just kind of like see the weight fall off after that. So I don't know, we'll see.
And all that to say is like, I feel good eating 2,500 calories. I am hungry in the day.
You actually feel hunger.
I feel hunger. I haven't felt hunger in this way for a very long time.
And not like you're starving yourself hunger.
No.
Like, oh, I'm actually hungry.
I'm actually hungry.
My tummy is rumbling.
Yeah.
Let me eat. Because you're gonna eat in the next hour. It's fine. You're not gonna starve.
Yeah. I would just snack.
Yeah.
Like if I was just, because I'm always home.
Yeah.
Just like, handfuls of pumpkin seeds, handfuls of dried pineapple.
Oh, my kids didn't finish their lunch. Gonna eat that because I don't want to waste it.
I don't want to waste food, so I eat all their food. And so I was never hungry. I was always kind of like, kind of like feeling full, almost like uncomfortably. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like
sluggish,
feeling hungry, and I'm like, I kind of like the feeling in a weird way.
Like, yeah, I finished what's in my
hunger.
gut. Like the gut feels lighter.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I do. I definitely feel lighter.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious if the other thing I'm curious about, like I feel like, okay, well, cool, effective. I'm at my fighting weight, if you want to call it that. And I feel confident. But I'm curious what happens if I stick to this when I plateau.
Mm-hmm. I think it's soon.
Yeah.
Which
would be cool. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I can actually weigh this walking around.
Yeah.
Like maybe
as long as you just kind of like eat healthy 80%. You can do the 80-20 after this.
Yeah.
I think based on how lean you are and the fact that like you don't want to lose any muscle after this point, then just like keeping your protein intake high and keeping like the treats to the 20%, like you'll probably just hang out here now.
Yeah. Cause then it makes me like think, oh, I can go back into that thread with the ChatGPT and be like, great, thank you. We hit our goal. Now, like, I feel good like this. Now I want to like build muscle. Like what steps, what tips for like adding protein and like what, like, calorie, how does that change my calorie intake? Mm-hmm. If I want to like maintain a weight around in this range, and like, what does that look like? And then that'll be my goal between now and the next competition.
Macros.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to be the protein intake is going to be extremely important.
Yeah. And then you start looking, last quick point. It was like, now I have a lens that I never had before, which is like calories in the meal is important, mm-hmm. but also now the macro like lens will get like layer will get put over that as well. Like, okay, well, is that a protein heavy 500 calories or is that a cheesy heavy 500 calories or,
I know. I'm just like pulling up my tracker right now because I'm curious if, what my breakdown has been. Cause I have a feeling that if I change my breakdown to be more protein heavy, that I will shed the weight faster. Yeah. I'm going a little carb. Oh, I'm going carb. I'm eating too many carbs. One day I had 258 grams of carbs and only 86 grams of protein. Oh. But I still was in my calorie goal,
Yeah, right. Right, which is kind of like you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm seeing it.
And then I go 211 grams of carbs, 82 grams of protein.
Which you want to be at 140 grams of protein?
I think it's like 100. Over 100 is acceptable and up to 140.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, 136 grams of carbs and 105 grams of protein. So like
that's a bit better.
That's probably where I want to sit.
Yeah.
I'd say my fats maybe a little bit high, but I need to adjust my ratios in here, but I think I have to pay to do that. So anyway, we're getting there.
Cool. So now our weekly segment.
Responding to something I found in Reddit.
We need like a
Reddit.
What's a good like a Reddit?
That's pretty accurate.
I feel like we need like a little I don't know. Well, I'll find some sort of little just like segment.
A stupid lighthearted one.
Jingle.
And then I have one that is more conversational. So which one do you want first? Or are we both doing one?
I didn't find anything.
Okay.
So
let's
conversational first.
Okay. Yeah, let's end with the goofy.
Yeah, delay gratification.
Okay. So this is in the BJJ forum channel. And the topic is stay for the community or leave for a better curriculum. Ooh. I've been training at my current gym for over a year, and I got my blue belt here. I genuinely enjoy the environment, the coaches, and the people overall. However, our curriculum is questionable at best. We haven't learned anything about guard passing and guard retention since I've joined. I brought it up to coach a couple times, but it still gets ignored.
Gotta go.
Yeah, our competition record kind of proves my point as well, including our head coach and assistant coaches. They rarely win. To be honest, rarely is pretty charitable. So here's my dilemma. There's a new gym I found a bit further, but I like the coach, his teaching style, and curriculum. The only downside is he doesn't have many students yet. Almost no one to roll. Each class is basically one-on-one. What would you do? Stay for the community and rolling partners or move for the training? Edit. People have asked what we're actually learning. Pretty much only subs. And weird part is not even how to defend the ones we're taught.
You gotta go. That blue belt ain't shit. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean.
What did that blue belt mean?
So like just from the subject line alone.
Yeah.
I was like, what are your goals?
Sure.
Right? Because I think the community can be like far better than learning better jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like longevity wise, like you want, as long as you're not getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like you're there for your friends.
Yeah. Is it dangerous?
But those are some pretty massive gaps in the curriculum.
It seems pretty bad.
And you have to question, like, am I even learning jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
So.
That's tough.
That's a tough one.
I mean, you heard my knee-jerk reaction. I was like, nah.
You gotta go.
You'll make friends somewhere else.
Yeah, you will definitely make friends somewhere else. And, like, other people might follow you, too. Yeah. Right? You could just be, like, the person who... And, like, if you really love the community that you're in right now, like, give them an ultimatum.
Yeah, I mean...
Hey, like, this isn't okay.
What you learned isn't invalid.
Yeah.
It'll serve you.
And who cares if your coaches... I mean, the point about, like, my coaches never win competitions, like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're not going to go make money competing. If you really want to compete, then, yeah, go change gyms.
Like, I understand. You're looking at it as a data point, like, wait, do they really know anything?
Yeah, totally. And maybe they don't, right? But, yeah, if you aren't learning defense or guard passing and just learning subs because they're flashy, then, yeah, I think, you might actually be at one of those gyms that we see on, like, Instagram and YouTube where it's, like, fake black belt pretending kind of vibe.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, yeah, because you're just...
You can always go back to another gym too. So you could just try the new one for 3 months and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 months of private lessons doesn't sound too bad either.
That's what I was thinking. Is like, how much would private lessons cost? You know what I mean? And then look at it comparatively to like what they're charging for a membership. You're like, go for the one-on-one right now.
Yeah.
Be an
and then
early
if you're
member.
like, okay, this is pretty lonely. And then the gym won't survive if they don't get enough members. So then you can go back to the other one.
And you can just clean up.
Yeah. Start your own.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts there?
No, just go to the new place. You'll be fine. People will probably follow you anyways.
Yeah.
Especially if you go back and you start tapping everybody.
Yeah. Where'd you learn that?
Like, how did you...
Follow me.
Yeah.
Okay. And then here's our silly one. You ready? This is in BJJ Women, which is much more friendly community. My girlfriend was tickled by a purple belt during class. And then has the tag, post from a guy. Because if you go into the BJJ Women, you're allowed, but you have to put this tag if you're a man posting.
Okay.
This is her story, but I'm posting here because she doesn't use Reddit. She was rolling with a purple belt who recently joined the gym and seems well liked. And she's rolled with him in the past without any issues. When she was trying to escape a heel hook, he brought her other foot towards him and crossed her feet to stop the heel hook, and then he tickled her foot, and she pulled her foot away. Then he said that was the only way I could stop you from resetting. It made her really uncomfortable. It's a really weird thing to do in general, but especially to someone you don't really know, and we're looking for advice on what to do.
Fucking getting shot.
It's so tough because I'm like, pretty sure I've been tickled.
You think did the Colonel tickle you ever? I feel like he would do some shit like that. I don't know why. He seems like the type.
Yeah, probably someone goofy like that, right? Yeah. But I'm like, it's
Which
not
is so funny to say he's goofy because he's literally a colonel.
Yeah, like very serious dude. But it's never like, it would only be like the feet and it'd be like, hee. Yeah, if someone was like tickling like my like underarms or like any other body part, I'd be like, no. But if someone's just like, hee on your feet for a second, I don't know. I think it's a lot more lighthearted than they're making it out to be. But also,
I could see how it could make somebody super uncomfortable. There's also somebody like the purple belt I did my like one-on-one basically with, who like when he's like rolling with us, he'll like pet your head and be like, shh.
Yeah. He does that. He does that shit to me all the time. And I'm like, this is hilarious. Yeah. Like, this is just your style and you're goofy.
And he's done it since day one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, he's like, I'm everybody's friend and this is what I do.
Didn't the first time you were rolling with him, he was like, don't worry, nobody's going to hurt you or something like that?
He said, shh, it's okay. You're safe.
Yeah. Did you feel threatened?
Don't worry, you're safe. No, I was just like, this dude's weird. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's just a goofy purple belt who is like trying to have some lighthearted fun.
Yeah.
And that the boyfriend
is actually
like the one that's really bothered by it. And she told him, and then he got her riled up. Yeah. And he's like, tell me this is inappropriate and that she has a reason to be upset about it.
Just don't know how to have fun.
Yeah. Now, if she was like, I don't like that, please stop, and he did it again, then
that's fucked up. Yeah.
Did you have to
because there is like you don't tickle somebody when you're rolling with them. Yeah. That's like kind of like an unspoken rule. Yeah. It's like very like general across jiu-jitsu. Like, yeah, you don't do shit like that. You don't like tickle or pinch or weird stuff like that. And so like, I could see how some people would be like, wait, no, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, but if they're doing it seriously, like to actually like have an upper hand in a roll, then I guess it could get kind of weird.
But like, as a human to human, like if it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah. Like I've had people like where I'm like sitting down or like I'm rolling with another person and another like pair was really close to me and I like tickled one of their feet. Just to let them know that like we're right here.
Yeah,
and we started rolling away too, but I was like, hey, we were within arm's reach, like, and that's a little different.
So it brings up an interesting kind of like story, I guess, because we both had the same experience this week. Because when you were explaining what we were learning from Professor, which is like this guard pass where basically you stand up, they're an open guard, you have your hands on their heels, and you shove their feet together and their heels down to the mat, and then you basically like close the distance and you're kneeling, sitting on their feet, and then you pull them into you and you drive your head into their chest to get their back on the ground. So you like
trap their heels to their butt.
You're trapping their heels to their butt. So if you can imagine that, right? Feet together up into the butt. Mm-hmm. Knees are shooting up to either side of your chest.
Yeah.
Well, you take, if your head is on their chest and you're looking either way, right? You have a gaze side that you're gazing to, and you have a blind side. You take your blind side arm, you reach underneath their legs, past their thighs, and you grab their opposite pant cuff or ankle. Mm-hmm. Invariably, I tickled my partner's balls every single time I tried, and I
had someone digging into my lady parts. Reaching, trying to find my foot. And I was like, that's not it.
That ain't it.
That's the most awkward thing that's ever happened to me in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And it's just like, shit, sorry, dude. Like, every time I was just like.
All of us were like, the foot's got to be here. Yeah, no, that is their gooch.
Nope, you got to reach way farther down. I was like, sorry, dude, tickled your balls. And he's like, it's all good.
Was it the serious dude?
No, it wasn't the serious dude. It was Vanilla Gorilla.
Okay.
So he was perfect. He was like the perfect
goofy.
He was the perfect partner for that. It was just like it was water off a duck's back. It's all good. And then also, so like in that sequence, there was like a somersault, kind of like guard pass, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
So you do like a somersault. You're like. You end up looking at the ceiling. Your back is on their chest. Mm-hmm. And then if you still have the grip, they're not going to scramble away. So you roll over really quick and get into side control. Well, when he did it, he went straight onto my head because he's like,
he's a big boy,
he's
too.
A big boy. Not even like, no, he's like muscular.
He's thick.
He's thick. He is built.
Yeah.
He is the vanilla gorilla. He's not like.
He's dense.
Yeah, he's not like crushing hamburgers. It's like he's dense. He's strong. But it was so funny because he's not graceful, And so, he flipped over onto my head. But luckily, I turned my head right in time, so it actually was fine.
Yeah, I didn't get your nose or something.
Yeah, but it was funny. He was just like, oh, fuck that. He was like, yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, but sometimes you do a move and you're like, thanks for teaching me, Professor. I'll never do that again.
I'm putting that right in the trash bin.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought
did too,
I was very graceful with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
So, Those are my thoughts.
All right. Well, next week, I'm just busy week at work for me. So I'm just really hoping I can get to 4 classes and maybe 5. Buckle down.
Is it down? Okay, cool. I love you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't forget.